Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Sew Jeaux live. Hey, y'all. I'm Dion. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, it's Sew Jeaux live from my studio. Direct from my studio. Yes, where we talk about sewing, business, and mo while sipping on a strong cup of Joe. She Irish, y'all. Okay. Yes. And it's Jeaux as an ode to my Momo and my Louisiana roots as a Creole. Awesome. So if you're new here, welcome, 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 welcome. I'd love to have you here. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much. And if you are a returning subscriber, hey girl, hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I truly, truly appreciate it. And if you could give your girl a like, that would be really very much appreciated. Every like, every share helps to grow my little micro channel, and I would so appreciate it. So definitely share with your creative friends, your sewist friends, and of course, if you're not subscribed already, please, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, girl. Come on. If I like it here, you're going to love it. I promise you're going to love it. Yes. Okay. So, down in, if you are sipping on something or sewing at your own machine or whatever, down in the chat, let me know where you're tuning in from and what you're sipping. Okay. I'm going to take a sip while you're doing that. Hmm. Yes. She's good. Yes, let me know what you're sipping on, and while we go ahead and get started. So, as you could tell by the thumbnail, we're going to be making this beautiful number right here. We're going to get as far as we can get on it, and then if we have to continue, we will. Okay. So I should prep this before I hit go, but we're going to make this beautiful little number right here. I had to make this for a custom order for a customer, but and I was going to do that live. However, the girl was running low on black thread, and I didn't want to run out for the order. So we will be using an off-color thread tonight. I'm going to do a little replica of this for you, and let me show you what it looks like on. Yeah, let's see what it looks like on. Come over here, Lucy. Come over here, Lucy. Yes. Lucy. She's shy, but she's gonna come on in and show you her underwear. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's a three-part cup. Okay, sheer on the top, and it has a floating core. Okay, so this is a floating cup kind of design here. How it differs with a full cradle is that the usually you'll see a band that goes all the way around the rib cage, and the cups just kind of sit inside of it. But this is a floating cup design, okay, and we have it on a leotard band. Now, don't laugh at Lucy's booty. Don't laugh at her booty. She doesn't have very much, so we added some in the back. Okay, so this is a leotard band that she's wearing. Okay, it has nice coverage in the back, and of course, as the sizes go up, the band gives more coverage, just depending on what you need. Now, what's really interesting about this, because she's got sheer parts and all of that, right? She's unlined, meaning she has no padding. Most people think, oh, this is not going to be a very supportive bra, but it's quite the opposite. She is super supportive, especially for large breasted women, right? Yes, she is very, like these fabrics, they're sheer, but they're very, very strong. And I also use layering. Okay, bye bye, Lucy. Bye bye, Lucy. I also use layering to help with not only stabilizing the fabrics and things like that, but also to make nice clean finishes on the inside, so that you don't have any in no edges rubbing against your breast tissue and all of that. But like I said, this is meant for a wide range of boobs. Okay, I know this because I'm a customer. I'm a customer. Okay, so what we're going to do is jump right in, because we've got a lot to cover tonight. We're going to try to get through this. And what I want to do first is show you all of the materials. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. Okay, let's take a look at the materials. All right, so we have our main fabric. Okay, this is your outer cup, this is your inner cup. We have the gore, which is, like I mentioned, is a separate piece. Okay. And here's the upper cup. Okay. And it's made of a very sheer nylon, but very, very strong. Let's see if I can get this to focus. not, yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah. So it's made of a very sheer nylon, but it's very strong, very strong. Okay. And here is our little petite ruffle. That's going to line the neckline and the bottom of the gore. Let's see, maybe better on this camera. Let's see here. How about that? Oh, much better. Okay. So she's a bit stretchy. Okay. We have our rings and slides, rings, slides. Okay. Right. And then we also have, in addition to our main fabric, we use some bridge lining, which is a very strong mesh also, non-stretch mesh that we'll use to line the inside of the cup at the lower half of the cup. And I also, because this fabric is, stretchy or whatever, I want to stabilize it as much as possible. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and done this prior to, so in the interest of time. But you can see all I've done is layered the lower pieces with some of the fabric that I'm using actually on the upper cup as well. Okay. We have our band. It's made out of a power mesh. Okay. Very strong, very strong. Okay. And let's see here. What have I missed? All right. We have our elastics. Okay. So we've got two sizes here. One is the thinner one is for the top portion of the band. The lower portion of the band will be finished with the wider one. Okay, and they are very strong as well. Okay. And these are our elastics for the shoulders. Okay, elastics for the shoulders. That's how it looks. It's plush on one side, shiny on the other. You can see one here is plush and one shiny. Okay. That. This is an underwire bra. So we've got underwire channel. It's plush as well. Let's see here. So this is how this works. Okay, so it's going to go into the underwire is going to go in like that. And we have full coverage wires. Okay, very sturdy, very, very sturdy. Okay, and our hook and eye. Okay, so in this case, this is a petite size. My customer she's got larger boobs for her body size, but she is about a 28 in rib cage, and her cup size is like a double D. Okay. All right. So now that we've seen all of the supplies, and I think I'm going to clear these just so that the surface is clean and we can get started. These, just put these away just so I can have a nice clean space. Okay, so we're going to start with the cup. All right, we'll work on the cup first. Okay. So first thing we're going to do, and just so you know that this is your, let's do it this way so you can continue to see my face. All right. So let's get this out of the way as well. Okay. So this is your outer cup, your inner cup, and this is the center front seam. Okay. And once again, your upper cup is here. All right. So first thing we're going to do is pin these together. Okay. Do we have any bra makers out there? Is everybody new to bra making? Are you thinking about it? and, maybe just haven't taken the leap yet, let me know. Let your girl know. I would love to help you along your way, your travails in terms of bra making. It can be really, really fun. Um, and the name of this bra that we're making is called Amber Ona Right. And the reason why my styles have full names is because I give every component a name. So when I design them modularly so that customers can mix and match components. Okay, so we're also going to sew the center front seam of the lining. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin that as well. So my show is normally in the morning, guys, but hey, I was running a little bit late and I was really going to wait until the morning to do it, but I was like, let's just go ahead and knock it out, right? Maybe I'll make some new friends in the process. Okay. Just making sure I got a right and a left here, see? Okay. And our seam allowances are going to be a 1/4 inch. They are 1/4 inch. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and sew those together. Just push this out of the way. Let me get my coffee out of the way. Just checking here. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and do that. Just getting everything organized here. All right, so let's go ahead and start here. So you can see what I'm doing. Okay, once again, I'm just going to sew here. Okay, there we go. And I'm doing just a regular straight stitch, 1/4 inch from the edge. Of course, I need to wind the bobbin. I should have prepared that ahead of time. It's beginning of summer, guys. What are you sewing? What are your plans for sewing? Let me know in the chat. Are you planning on doing something exciting? Hopefully you can see what I'm doing fairly clearly here. I'm sewing down the center seam at 1/4 of an inch. From the edge, okay? I am going to have to wind another bobbin. Okay. here. Oh, one more. Come on. I think I'm going to wind bobbin right after this so that it doesn't catch me off. Let's see here. Awesome. Okay, so now we have, this is basically our lower cup sewn together. This is the center, this is the outer, okay, like that. Same as for these, okay. All right. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take care of this bobbin. Anybody has anything exciting for the summer planned? I wish I did. I don't have anything. And you know, honestly, I tend to not plan very much. I guard my time a lot. And I tend to like to do things on a whim. Doesn't, you know, bode well for vacations though. I have to do a little bobbin. I'm gonna do a bobbin. I should have taken care of this before I started, but you know, hey, it bees like that sometimes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Dion, and we are making the bra that's in the thumbnail. It is a 3-part. Unlined cup. Very supportive though. Don't be fooled by the delicate design, okay? Because it is very, very supportive. I make them for myself. And it actually is a favorite of my customers. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is attach, this is the upper. This is the upper cup. Okay. Hard to see, a little bit difficult to see here. And this is the lower part that's going to attach to the lower part of the cup here. Okay. So I'm going to basically sandwich this. Okay. I made a little mark for myself, a little notch. Okay. And I'm going to push the seam allowance towards the side cup or outer cup. Line that up right there. Okay. And I'm going to also take, this is the lining that we just did. Okay. It's made of a sheer mesh. It's non-stretch. And I also use this in the bridge. Okay. It's very, very, very strong. So let's get the right one. So it's going to be right sides together. So I'm basically sandwiching the upper cup between the 2 layers here. Sometimes I would, you know, hand stitch these in place to base them, but in the interest of time and for speed, I'm going to skip that step. I'm just going to go ahead and stitch straight after pinning. So we are sipping on Irish coffee tonight. What are you sipping? Let me know in the chat and let me know where you're tuning in from. I would love to know. And also let me know if you currently are a seamstress or sewist, and which is the right one. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Which is the right one? Let's see. Let me make sure you can see my face here. See what I'm doing. Yes. Hmm. So bra making has been pretty much the my life for the last 10 years. Um, and designing basically and making for of course it was born out of my own issues. Having larger breasts. Okay, it's not easy to find bras, and when you do find them, they are awful. Okay, they are nude, black and white, and having had the Victoria's Secret experience, meaning in terms of the colors, it's like a candy store in there. You can't go back to that, right? Now, I never had real luck in Victoria, but it was always nice. I'd always come out with some lotion, some lotion, or they had some really good ones too. Some lotion, or a trinket of some kind, but never a bra that fit me. So yes, and so yeah, I was born out of that, and then it kind of grew from there. I really and then I started working with ladies who had breast cancer, and you know, I got to tell you that that was the most and is the most gratifying part of all of this. Um, just seeing how the posture changes, how the attitude changes, and um, just their faces light up because they are just so thankful to have something that's not only beautiful, but just makes them feel normal again. That is definitely the most gratifying part of what I do. And I'm coming full circle with this. And now I really want to build a community of women who kind of want to learn how to do this. Okay. If, not for yourself, but maybe as a business. I, I have a passion for all of that, for business and everything. I'm an MBA, and I just love, 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 love business, everything business, especially those who I love the launching part of it. Um, so excited to help and to share this with others. So I hope that you can hear me okay. I know that sometimes my mic might be cutting out. I just want to make sure it's not. If you can hear me okay, please put a one in the chat. And if not, then I mean I'll see what I can do to fix it. Yes. So I'm so excited to be here doing this online live with you guys tonight. We'll try to get through the whole thing. We'll definitely try to do that. And of course, if you have any questions about anything, just type it in the chat. I'll make sure to do a chat check. Okay. So now I've basically pinned the upper. So I've got the inside. This is my lining. This is the main fabric. Can you see what I'm doing here? Hold on. Okay. So this is the lining. This is the main fabric. And this is the upper cup here on the inside. Okay. And I just wanted to make sure that my seam allowance is facing the outer cup. I'm going to stitch here 1/4 inch from the edge. Okay. Yes. Yes. So Anybody got plans for the summer? What's going on? What's going on? I live vicariously through people. I work too much. Yeah, so as I said about this bra, it's a three part cup. Okay. I love the little ruffle that is on the neckline, and it's petite enough that it doesn't really like show through your clothes or anything like that. So let's get this part done too. Just make sure. So I'm going to try to get this done all in one show. And I don't know if you've seen like the little ruffle panties that I have on my channel. Those are very, very popular. I think I'm going to do a show doing those as well. Let me know if you're interested in that. I'm happy to like do that as well. Very happy to do that as well. Okay, so now we've got those done. Okay. Okay, so this is where we are. Let's see here. Okay, so as you can see, this is what we've done here. See it better on that side. Okay. All right. So now, so what I really hate is bras that have any kind of free flowing edges on the inside. So I make sure that in lining these that we don't have that situation. Okay, so what we're going to do is like a little flip. Let's just make sure this is all in the right way. Yes. We're going to do like a little flip to ensure. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right though. Okay, let's just make sure here. So what we're going to do is take the raw edges from the lining and we're going to attach them to the raw edges of the main cup. Okay, I just always have to double check this, make sure I'm putting it on the right side so that it lays flat on there. Let me just do a quick little pin and double check that. Okay, let's see very quickly if that's the way we want it done. No, it's the opposite. Okay. All right, so need to put it on the opposite side. So this, instead of on this side, I'm going to lay it on the opposite side, which is this side, like that. Let's double check that once more. I hate to do this and then it's incorrect. Okay, and this is something I have to check myself on every single time. All right, so let's just double check it now. So that when it's nice and done, all of the seams are flowing in the right direction. No, so I had it right the first time. Okay. Just make sure I can hold on to that side. Okay, so we're going to just put it on this side. All right. One more time. Cut twice, cut one, measure twice, cut once. Just want to make sure. don't like to undo and redo. Let's see, where are we? Okay, that looks right this time. Okay, very good. All right. So, did I undo that properly? Yes. Okay. So all I'm doing is aligning the seam. This is the center seam from the actual lining and from the main fabric. Okay. So I'm going to align them down that center seam, center front seam there. And that center front seam is not like a vertical seam. It actually is slanted in the design as well. Okay, so I'm just laying it on top of it, on top of the center seam. And I'm going to put a stitch to hold it in place. And I can't really stitch it all the way to the top. I'm just going to go as far as I can. And then when I do my top stitching, that'll take care of the portion that is not, that I couldn't cover here. Okay, so just like that. Awesome. All right. So I've got that one pinned. I'm going to go ahead and get this one pinned properly too, just so I can stitch them both. Okay, so let's see. So all I'm doing once again is I'm taking the center seam from the main fabric and the lining, and I'm just putting them together. Okay. So you have two options. You could put it on that side, on the inner cup side or the outer cup side. And instead of me just looking at is it the inner or the outer, I'm just doing a test pin and then checking to see if it's on the right side. By turning it right side out. Whoops. There we go. Let's see, are you on the right side here? No, it's the opposite. Let's just make sure. No, I think it's correct. Let's just make sure here. Yeah, I think that is correct. Let's double check here. No, it's not correct. It's not correct. Okay. All right, so we're on that one side, and I'm just going to switch it to the other side. Here. And that should be correct. But I'm going to check it anyway. I am drinking Irish coffee, okay? Just want to make sure it's right. There we go. I think we are. Let's double check here. It's the wrong side again. Let's see. Oh, hold on. I think I got it on the wrong side again. Hold on. All right, girl. Okay, here we go. Let's try here. And make sure you pin it on the right side that you want it to flow. Let's do it like that. Okay, now let's take a look. Right here. Okay. I'm just going to fight with this sucker, huh? Okay, here we go. Let's try it this way. There we go. This is how we want it. Just like that, okay? All right, so now we've got it where we want it. Just going to pin it to hold it in place. Okay. That sucker was trying to beat me. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to take it up as far as I can, which will be probably about, let's just say, roughly a half inch from the top where they connect, where the two connect. All right. So let's go ahead and so I'm just going to do a kind of a base stitch. It doesn't have to be right. So my stitch is about 4 millimeters long. And I'm just tracing the stitch there in the center. Okay. All right, so that's one down. Just tracing over the seam, the original center seam. And this just locks all of the layers in place together inside the cup. So as you can see here, it's just stitched along here. And there's still like an opening here. And I'm going to take care of that when I am doing the top stitching. All right, so the next step is we're going to turn it right side out. So that's perfect. Turning this right side out as well. These are just my hand stitches. Okay, so now we have 2 cups. You can see here, right? 2 cups. And just so you can see, let me switch over to this and you can see what I mean. So now so that's your center line there, your center seam. All of the seam allowances are headed in the same direction and it's encased inside of the lining. It's between the cups, right? So you can see here and it's locked here. All of the layers are locked on that seam line. Okay. So now I'm going to top stitch 2 rows. Okay. I'm going to top stitch along here. So across the cup and down the cup, across the cup and down the cup. I'm going to put 2 rows in each direction. And I'm doing this roughly a little shy of 1/8 of an inch. Right, and I'm going to use a little bit longer stitch. I've been using a 2.5 millimeter stitch, but now I'm going to use a 3 millimeter stitch. Okay, and I'm just holding, pulling the layers so that they're nice and smooth and taut. Okay, along as I'm stitching. Just looking at the chat just to make sure. If you're here, say hello. I see you. I see you. I know you're here. I know you're here. Just say hi. Now, normally I would trim a little bit on those seam allowances prior to debulk the area a little bit or grade it. But for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I've got one row of stitching there. Okay, and I'm just going to do the center front seam now. Go ahead and stitch that in place, and I'm going to make sure that, as you can see, because I left the top open up here, so I just want to make sure that these are lining up at the top where they're not attached. See, it's not attached here. It's not attached here, but it's attached a little bit farther down. Okay, so once again, I'm doing this about just a little bit shy of 1/8 of an inch from the top, from the seam. See I've got one row in each direction. Okay, I'm going to do that for the other cup too. And that second row, I'm going to change my needle position. So I just want to make sure I get everything and having the cups look alike. Okay. Making sure it's nice and smooth. D-Dub said, hey, let's go. Yes, let's go. We're off and we're going, okay? Okay. Alright, so I'm almost done with that first row of stitching here at the top. And I'm going to hit the one going down the center seam. Okay, so you can just see that. That's the top. Okay, I'm going to hit this. All right, so just making sure that those seam allowances are on top of each other. And go ahead and get this done too. All right. And I'm just holding the layers a little bit taut as I'm going, as I'm making the seam, because I just want it to be nice and smooth as much as possible. As nice and smooth as possible. I just don't want to go past my okay. All right, so now I've got two. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the second row of stitching. Okay. So what have you guys been watching on TV? What's been going on? What's going on? Okay. If this is a bra that you're interested in making, it's really not hard to do. It's really not hard to do. Let me just change my needle position now. I'm just going to move it over about 1 millimeter. Let's see, where are we right now? Let me go back to 2-3. That's good. Okay. So this is going to give it a nice, like, little double row of stitching. Okay, kind of like the denim effect. Okay, and it's also helping to enclose those raw edges. Okay, it's creating a casing on the inside. 2 rows there now. Okay, so I'm going to do that for the seam going down the front as well. Okay. And these are just style. When you're making it yourself, you don't have to have these stitch lines. I just like them. All right, so I'm going to do this one. Almost has like that little, like that casual look and feel, like denim kind of look and feel. I like that with the plaid. That's that one. We're going to take it down the center. Okay. Second row there. Now do it here. So what types of bras do you like to wear most? Do you like them with foam or no foam? I like no foam. I do like foam sometimes because for modesty, right? It helps to, hide the nips. But I love these for comfort and they conform, to your shape. They create a shape, a beautiful shape too. But it's like they're much more moldable than foam bras, unless you're using a very, very light foam. Okay. All right. So now, let's see here. So we've encased you can see there with the stitching, we've encased the actual seam allowance inside. So it's nice and smooth and clean here. You can see it here, but it's not really touching the skin. It's inside the casing there. All right. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and put on our petite ruffle. Okay. Let's do that. So this is the ruffle that we're about to put on. Okay. I love this. It's so pretty. And of course, it's smaller than the actual cup line because we want it creates a nice little somebody's calling me while I'm trying to someone's calling me. Yeah, so it creates a nice, almost custom feel when around the neckline because it kind of, collapses to as much length as you need. I know a lot of ladies that have issues with, the upper cup or the neckline being too large, and it gapes and that sort of thing. So this actually gives you kind of a nice little custom look and feel. Okay, so now I want to change and this is just my OCD. I'm going to change the upper thread to that almost black thread because I'm about to put this on. I just want to make sure it looks nice. So I'm going to change this thread. Okay. Really kind of a gray looking thread here. Okay. There we go. All right. So I'm going to use a zigzag stitch for this. Okay. And zigzag is going to be, it's going to be 3 millimeters wide, and 4 long. Okay, so I'm going to apply this so that the ruffled edge is facing towards the cup. So the actual smooth edges are going to line up together just like this. Okay, and we're going to take it, and so we're going to stretch it so that it fits all the way to the end here. Okay, like that. So I'm just going to zigzag this in place. And when I do, I'm zigzagging so that when the needle goes to the left, it's actually going to hit right just under the actual ruffle. Okay, so that when I flip it on the inside, it looks nice and smooth and neat. Okay. So come on, get you to all right. Doesn't want to. There we go. Come on. Okay. All right. So let's just do a couple stitches. All right. And I'm going to pull the threads a little bit just to kind of help it because this is very sheer fabrics, right? And sometimes the needle can push it down. So I'm just going to pull it so it meets. Okay. All right. All right. I just like the nice clean look and feel of having a matching thread. Okay. So this is, and it doesn't match in this case, but at least it's blackish. Okay. All right. So, all right. So that one's done. Now I'll go ahead and do the other. And then when I flip it over and stitch the other side. So I basically stitched the inner part of the elastic. Can you see the stitches there? Okay. So that's where my zigzag is. And so when I fold it so that it's the right side of the ruffle is so that the ruffle is exposed, that way it's a nice, clean, even finish there. Okay. So let me go ahead and do this one. Try to keep these threads cleaned up. All right, so let's go ahead and do this one. And with this one, there's really no right and wrong side to these. Okay. To the ruffle, I mean. It's plush, the elastic portion of it that hits the skin is plush on both sides. Tug it till it meets the edge of the neckline and do everything to keep it nice and straight. There we go. Almost there. Okay, so now that one's done. Okay, you can kind of see the stitches there. All right, so now the next thing I'm going to do is fold it to the inside so that I'm going to fold it to the inside. So this is the wrong side of it. This is the right side here. Okay, so I'm going to fold it so that we put the lower half of the elastic. We're going to attach that next. Okay, so this time I'm going to have the zigzag go on the opposite side. And because I don't want to change out top and bottom threads, and I've got two different colors in here, I'm just gonna, I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm going to stitch it from the wrong side just so that we keep time. We're not, let's go here just I want to put in a pin here. Okay, let's just start it with that. Just to make sure it stays in place. All right. Okay, I'm pulling it. I'm pulling the, let's see, I'm pulling the upper, encouraging it to be nice and flat. You can see what that looks like. Nice and flat and beautiful. I love that. Okay, let's do the other side. Okay. Sticking the pin in just to get it going, because remember, this is not exactly the neckline's length. It is actually shorter. So it had tension on it when I initially put it on. So I want to make sure that I get it to the edge. I'll take the needle out, pull the pin out, and do a quick little back stitch. Okay, once again, I'm encouraging the upper cup to lay flat. So that's a nice clean finish. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so this is the underside. Okay, you can see, let's let that focus. Okay, you can see there's 2 rows of stitching, one on both sides of the length of the elastic, and this is what it looks like on the right side. Okay, all right. So we are done with the cups for now. And I'm going to take a sip of Joe. Delicious. Okay, so now we have done our cups at least to the point that we need to. The next thing that I want to do is work on the gore, okay, which is that little tiny triangle that sits in the middle of your chest. Okay, and whenever you're wearing a bra, this little guy needs to lay flat on your chest, okay? If it's not laying flat on your chest, then there's a fit issue, okay? So that means either your cup is too large, too small, your band could be too loose, okay? So there's a number of things, but just to give you a couple of things to troubleshoot. Okay, so our gore is also, it also has, let me show you on the finished one. Our gore also has trim, right? The ruffle trim on it. Okay, so this is the part we're doing now. All right, so I'm just going to pin the little ruffle in the same way we did the neckline, so that the edges line up, the flat edges. Okay. All right. And then I'm just going to do a little straight stitch to hold this in place. Okay. I need to get some more pins. These things are crooked. Some of them are bent. All right. So I'm just going to use a straight stitch on this. Okay. And I'm just going to run it right underneath the ruffle. Okay. Because that is actually the same seam allowance as the rest of the bra, 1/4 inch. So let's go ahead and do that. And with these little pieces, sometimes you have to just kind of encourage it to move through because they're so tiny, right? Okay, so all right, you guys, you just want to hang out in the bushes. You don't want to say hello. Come down from the bushes and say hello. Please come down from the bushes. Okay. All right. So this is where we are. Okay. So I have attached the little ruffle. Okay. And now what we're going to do, so this is that bridge mesh. It's a stabilizer. And I like to double these because this is a high stress area. I like to double it. It's very strong. It's strong enough to only use one, but I always like to double these. All right. So right sides together like that. And of course, these don't have a right and wrong side, but right sides together. I'm going to pin it in place. Okay. Like that. I like these floating cup bras as a variation to the full cradle ones. The full cradle ones definitely have they do offer a little bit more stability in terms of your breasts are a little bit less able to move around over your rib cage. Uh, but with these, I mean, it doesn't make it. Actually, it does kind of feel a little bit more. You feel a little more in control or controlled by it. Um, but these are still very, very, very supportive bras with the floating cups. It's just a little style change. Just make sure this is good. Okay. Right. So I'm just going to stitch along here 1/4 inch and then up here 1/4 inch. All right. Straight stitch. Okay, so that's the lower half. And I'm just going to run a stitch across the top here. Okay. All right. So that's done. Just going to clip these edges or these extra threads off. It's coming together quite nicely. Okay, so this is where we are. I'm just going to flip this right side out. to expose our beautiful little ruffle on the edge there. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is um, pin along the sides, and I'm going to put a base stitch there just to hold that in place so that we can attach it to the cups. All the way down to the sides and the bottom. Just making sure I get all of the layers, okay? Do the same for the other side. Stick a little pin in there. Stick one here too. All right, and I'm just gonna I'm going to keep it at the same. I'm not gonna do a base, but I'm gonna actually stitch it a little. Well, no, I will do a base because I don't want to catch the edges. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna run a little stitch along the sides, and it's temporary, technically. But I usually don't take these out unless it's seen. Okay, so that's one side. The other side. So this is how we are so far. You can see I've attached the edges with a little stitch. This is just to hold it in place. It's so small. We just want to make sure that it doesn't give you problems when you're trying to stitch it to the cups and you get all of the layers, because the stability comes from the underside. Okay. Okay, so we now have that completed. Okay, so it's stitched through all layers on both sides of the gore. Okay, now, so I want to attach the cord to the cups. Okay, so when I'm looking at the cup, there is a side that's rounded, and then there's a side that has a little bit of a slant, and this is the underarm. Okay, this is where the underwire goes all the way up through here to the neckline. Okay, so we're going to attach the gore to the center part of the cup so that it's even with the actual neckline of the fabric. Like this. And when I'm doing these, because it is a very small piece and it needs to be straight or attached to both sides of the let's make sure this is all good. Okay, that it's attached to both cups evenly. So I run a base stitch down this first on both sides, and then once I have it where I want it, then I run a permanent stitch. And I'm going to switch back to glue, I think, too. Just make sure. And this is just a base stitch right now, or a, temporary stitch. I did backstitch on that because I don't want it to come off while I'm, futzing around with it. Okay, so this is what we're looking like so far. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to, and I do have a little notch here, just kind of showing me where that's falling, and I'm going to try to get the other side in the same place. Okay, so this is the underarm, and this is the center. Okay, let's make sure. Okay, and when I'm actually attaching this, I'm making certain to run it all the way down until it runs out of seam allowance, okay? So the tails of the gore also are attached all the way through. Okay, so now I'm going to run a little stitch down here. See if we've got it. As you can see, I'm stitching all the way down the tail, okay, till it runs out. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let me show you what that's looking like. See, it looks nice and even. So now I'm going to run permanent stitches, tracing the stitches I just created. Let's do the other side. Stopping before it starts to stitch the ruffle. So now we have our gore attached. Okay, looking good, looking good. Yes. All right, so this is what we're looking like right now, guys. We are getting it done. Okay, so it's starting to take shape, right? Definitely needs some cleanup. All right, so for our next step, we're going to apply the lower part of the we're going to apply the lower elastic, or the elastic to the lower part of the band. Okay, so that wider picot elastic, that's what we're going to do next. Any questions so far? None? No questions? Okay. All right, so that's a little bit cleaner. Okay, looking good so far. Looking good. All right, so now what we're going to do is the band. Okay, so this is our band, and I put everything, sorry for the noise, I put everything in a little baggie so that I could free up my space. There we go. All right. So, all right. So your power mesh sometimes has the right and the wrong side. You know, in this case, it's really not that noticeable. Okay. So here's what we're going to do, just making sure we have a left and a right. So now we're going to apply the elastic in very much the same way as we did the ruffle, so that the straight edges line up, and we're going to zigzag right underneath the scallop. Okay, and I'm using a zigzag that is 3 millimeters wide and 4 millimeters long. And you may find on your machine that you need a different one because it really varies with the machine, just depending on the fabric that you're using. It's a little bit thicker. Sometimes it comes out, you know, it varies. Let's see, make sure you can see what I'm doing here. I'll do the other one just like that. Okay, so this is the right side up, and I've got the plush side up, okay? And my zigzags are occurring right under the scalloped edge, okay? So that when I turn it under, it'll be very, very clean. And the plush side will be on the skin. The plush side of the elastic will be on the skin. All right, so this is where we are. Okay, that's what that's looking like. Now I'm gonna fold it to the inside like that, and now I'm gonna zigzag on and off over here. Okay? And once again, I'll be pulling. And the reason I'm doing it from the other underside is because my matching thread is there. And so I'm just going to encourage it to lay flat and not pulling it because I don't want it to be warped. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, so that one's done. Let's do it with this other one. Okay, so this is how we're looking. See how nice that is? And this is how we're looking on the underside. Nice and clean. Okay. How are we doing? How are we doing? Still with me? Don't want to say hello? Don't be scared. Okay, so now we're going to attach the wings to the bra, to the cups. Okay, so remember we have the little slant here. So the wire actually starts. So the wings actually get attached down here. A lot of people want to attach it up here, but it doesn't belong there. It starts here. Okay, so right sides together. I'm going to pin. Right sides together, we're going to pin. Along here through all of the layers. All of the layers, okay. And this design has the picot edge ending right at the center seam. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pin the other side as well. Okay, so right there. Making sure we get through all of the layers. Okay, and ending right at the center seam once again. Okay, straight stitch is what we're going to use here, and we're going to do a 1/4 inch from the edge. Okay, so let's start that. And do I want to change? Yeah, I want to change this because I'm running out of it as well. So I'm going to put blue in so that we keep it nice and clean looking. Okay. Again, this is my OCD working here at play. I like for it all to look nice and clean. And especially if you're a beginner, then you really want to kind of match your threads. The reason I say that is because if you get a little bit off track, it's not as easy. All right, so let's go ahead and attach this. Now I'm probably going to have to change it again, so just bear with me. Only takes a second. Okay. Straight stitch, 1/4 inch, okay? Going around the cup. Ending right at the seam line, the center front seam. Let's get the other side. Okay, so those are the sides. Now it's looking like a bra. Looking like a bra now. Okay, so now we've got wings on there. Not only does a Red Bull give you wings, Dion gives you wings. Okay, so this is what we're looking like. All right, so that's the wing attached. Okay, so now what we're going to do is the next step will be attaching the channel. So didn't I just say I was going to have to switch this out again? Only this time I'm going to have to use like my another color because I was running out. All right, so I'm going to add just kind of like a dark blue or something here. Since my and I'm doing this because my channel is black. Okay. Whoops. All right. Okie dokie. All right, let's pull up the channels. So here's one, here's the other. Okay. So this is what the channel is what the underwire sits in. Okay, just so that you can see that better. Okay, this is it's plush on the side that sits on the skin, and you can see there's a little bit of ribbing on the side that is not exposed once it's applied in the bra. Okay, so let's go ahead and attach this. Okay. Now to attach this, I'm also going to, one more thing I want to explain. Let's see. Okay. So when this is sitting inside the bra in this design, okay, the channel will fit inside the cup like this. So it's the edge of the cup, okay, turned in towards the cup. So when we are stitching it in place, we're going to stitch it from the side of the wing, okay, and like this, so that when it folds inside, it covers the extra, all of the raw edges, okay? So let's go ahead and do that, and I'm going to do this in a larger stitch in case I have to move it, okay? And let's just so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm also going to move my needle position all the way over to the left. This is just kind of how I like to do it. And so what I'm actually going to do is place the edge of this just over the stitch so that I'm really going to be tracing that stitch line so that it's not visible. So it's going to sit in there just like that. Okay, so it's going to hide the stitch of the wing. Okay. So I'm going to start here, a little bit lower. I'm going to start lower because we still have to apply the elastic here. And the elastic here is about, 3/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit larger if you include the scallops. All right, so I'm going to align this in here just like that. Back stitch. So I'm looking to align the left edge of that, and this is the plush side that's showing. I'm looking to align the left edge on top of the stitch, and I'm going to stitch right on top of that stitch. I'm going to trace it. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, one more step. One more step before I do that, because in this design, what I forgot to do is this. So in this design, we have the scallop edge all around here. So it looks like one continuous piece, but it's actually different materials. All right, so let's apply that part first. And then, okay, let's make sure we are doing the right things. Just make sure we have the right ones here. All right, so So my long pieces. Okay, so that's for the top of the band. So it's usually these pieces here. Okay, yeah. Make sure that they're probably the same. Yes. All right. So here's what I'm going to do to apply that decorative detail. So disregard what I started. Okay. So I'm going to start right here where the band is attached, and I'm going to run this picot elastic to about right there, which is where the gore is. Okay. So you can see that's the gore and the band. So I'm really just applying a decorative detail. And honestly, it has more function than just decoration. When the wire is sitting directly on your rib cage, when you go to sit down, it could be maybe a little bit irritating. So this actually provides a little barrier that helps to soften up the wire. Okay, coming into contact with you. Now, the wire doesn't directly come into contact with you. It just is. It just is, because it's a hard thing sitting on your rib cage, and when you're sitting down and things like that, it could be irritating. All right, so let's just stitch this in place, and I'm stitching right underneath. I'm stitching right underneath the picot. Okay, doesn't matter which direction this goes on, because it's all going to be covered. Meaning the plush side of the elastic, that's not going to come in contact with your skin. The underwire channel is going to cover this. Okay. Now, if this were a full cradle bra, then this would be one piece underneath here, but I have to piece it because of the floating gore. Okay, so this is the right side. I'm exposing the wrong side of the gore here. So it's going in like this. Okay, just like that. And it's going to end just above the edges of the gore there. And I'm not going to backstitch or anything like that because it is going to be held in place when I attach the underwire channel. Almost forgot that sucker. Okay. All right. So this is what we're looking like. Let me just show you in case that was a little bit confusing. Okay. So now all I did was see, this is the wrong side, and this is the elastic. I aligned the edges of the elastic and attached it here with a straight stitch. Okay, it's just holding it in place. Okay, so now let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Okay, which is the underwire channel. All right, so we're going to pick up from where we left off, attaching it here, and you'll see it's going to run right along where that elastic is. Okay, it's going to cover it, right? And then it's going to go all the way up the cup to the neckline. Okay, so let's get back to that. And I have this set at about 4.5 millimeters in terms of the stitch, and I just move my needle all the way to the left. I like to align it there. Okay. Okay. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to follow all the way along here, covering up my stitching. Okay, running it all the way up to all right. And when I get to the neckline, I'm going to actually stop right before it gets to the ruffle because I don't want the channel running up the ruffle. We want that to stay nice and fluid and not rigid. Okay. So here you can see what I mean. So this is where I've attached it. So now you can no longer see my stitching running along the wing or even where I just attached that picot. Okay, and then all the way up here. And so I stopped right before it gets to the ruffle. Okay, because I'm going to end up clipping that off. All right, so now let's put the other one on. Okay, so I'm attaching this. Okay, I'm attaching, again, this is the wrong side, which is the part that has that those ridges on it. Okay, a little bit hard to see here, but you can kind of see it. Right, and the plush side is up. I'm just going to put this one just right above since I'm starting on this end. I'm not going to start my stitches at the ruffle. It's going to be just below the ruffle. Okay. And once again, I'm trying to cover all of the stitching that I've done to attach the gore, the picot, everything. So the channel just kind of finishes all of that. It hides all of the guts. Okay, and once again, when I get to the edge, I'm going to stop shy of the top, about 3/8 of an inch, to allow for the elastic for the top of the band that we apply at the top of the band. Okay. So you can see it's free, about 3/8 of an inch there. And all of my stitching is now covered all the way through the gore. Okay, so now my next step is to trim. Okay, and I'm not going to do a great job at it. I'm going to do some right now, just for the sake of time and not taking too long. Okay, let me use my little scissors and see if they will work for me. Okay, so what we're going to do is basically grade along here, trim it so that it's nice and clean underneath the channel. Okay, so all of that extra picot elastic and the seam allowance, all of that gets trimmed. Okay, let's see if my little scissors can handle this. Good job. It's doing a good job. Okay, you got to be really careful to not cut your channel, to not cut your cup. I may have to use a different pair of scissors when I get here. And I'm not going to do such a great job of this because I just want to get you through all of the steps. Made it through. Yeah. Okay, so this is not the channel. This is that picot elastic that we've now reached here. Let's go ahead and trim that down. Once again, your channel is hiding all of this. Okay. See, where it really makes a difference is when you get to the top here, because the top of the cup is sheer, right? So however neat or messy you cut it, it's going to show. So that part you want to take your time and get it somewhat straight. Okay, that's one down. It's not clean, but it's done. Okay, just for the sake of demonstration. Okay, let's get that other one done, and we can move on. I'll do it from this side too because I don't want to, so I can see what's going on here. Okay, let's trim it down. Once again, I'm just getting this trimmed down, not not for the purpose of being neat, but for the purpose of demonstration. Okay, so normally I would use a different pair of scissors to do this. I have some really sharp ones that would work so much better, but I have to definitely pay attention to how fast I do it because it can easily slice through the cup or the channel. Okay. How are we doing? I hope that you are enjoying the show. If you could, please give me a like. That would be awesome. Okay, we've reached the end. All right, very good. Okay, so now, all right, so typically I would take this over to my double needle machine, but because most people don't have that, I'm just going to do one row of stitching as you would do with your sewing machine at home. You can do two rows of stitching, much like what we do, like what we did here, like what we did here. But you have to really work to get that nice and clean and straight. Okay. So I'm just going to do one row of stitching, and I need to switch this too so that we get the right color on here. Okay. All right. Please forgive me, but I am changing the threads fairly quickly. Fairly quickly. Take a sip of coffee or something or whatever you're drinking while I'm doing this. Enjoy, relax. Do you guys use your automatic threaders on your machines? Okay, so now I'm going to run a stitch, just one, um, because this is a treatment that you can do on a home machine. So all I'm doing here is folding over the channel, right? And stitching along the opposite end to hold it in place, okay? So, and you could also run two stitches, okay? You can run two lines of stitches, but I'm going to do one just for the sake of demonstration here. Okay, let's see how we want to set this up. Okay, here we go. All right, so this actually just holds the channel in place. Okay. So you can kind of see here what's happening. So it's just a nice little top stitch to hold it in place. Okay. And you can actually start from the opposite side just to get a sense of where your needle position should be or how you should lay it on the machine. I'm just doing it I'm just feeling it. Okay. All right. My needle is placed in the left position. Okay. And I hope that I'm catching it. Okay. Looks like we are. And then I'm going to stop right at the neckline where just before the ruffle. Once again, I don't want to catch the ruffle in this stitch. I'm going to trim it right at the ruffle, okay? All right, so this is how we're looking. Just like that, okay? And so we've caught. We've caught the channel. All right, so let's do the other side. Okay, so I'm going to fold it towards the cup, just like that. Okay, making sure it's nice and tight. You just have to find the spot on your machine for aligning it, okay? This may take a little bit of practice. This may take a little bit of practice. But trust me, once you get it, you'll be so elated. We are heading into the home stretch, guys. Okay, and once again, I'm going to stop right before, I'm going to stop kind of where I started at first, just making sure that I have enough clearance for my finishing elastic right at for the top of the band, okay? All right, so this is how we're looking. Let's show you how we're looking here. So far, so good. Look at that. Okay. So you can, if you like, put another row of stitches. Typically on my double needle, that's what I would get here. 2 rows, just like what you see here. That's how that would look. Let me go to this camera here instead so you can see it better. Let's see how the double row. Okay. And so you can do that. But the issue with that is trying to keep it very similar and neat and straight. That takes time and practice. Okay. All right. So that's that. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're getting very, very close. I'm going to trim. I'm going to trim off the excess here in the middle of the bra, the excess channel. Okay. Now, typically, that would be something I would do after I have closed it, but I'm going to go ahead and do that here. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm now going to close off the channel at the center. Okay. Right here at the center. So what I'm going to use is a bar tack. Okay. And what a bar tack is, it actually runs like, it looks like a railroad track. Okay. So it's 2 straight lines of straight stitches, and then it goes back and does like what would look like a buttonhole type of stitch, a satin stitch. Okay. So I'm going to close here and here where the casing is. Okay. first one. All right, so the second one. So this is what that looks like. You see? So you use bar tacks to close off these things, especially with high stress areas. And you also use it for attaching your straps and things like that. Okay, so this requires now for the railroad tracks. Let's clean that up a little bit. Okay, so that's that. And now I'm going to put on my bow because when you put the wires in, it gets a little bit more tough to put the bows, your little bows at the center. So I'm going to go ahead and do the bow. I'm just cleaning up. Okay. I'm just cleaning up this. Okay, so now I'm going to actually, now I would typically change I would typically make sure I have black for the bow. Let's make sure here. What did we do with the bow? Maybe it may have fallen somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to put the bow on. And I use basically a darning stitch to do that. Okay. And I like to have my bows, most often people will stitch the bow in the center. I'm going to do that here because I have the wrong color in right now. But typically what I would do is I would, just so you can see here, I would place my bow like here in the center, and I would stitch it kind of under the knot on this side and this side because that gives it more stability. But what I'm going to do in this case is just stitch it across the center as you would typically see it. Okay, and that's because I don't have the right color in, and it would look a little bit messy to do it that way. So I'm just going to stitch it right across the knot. So that's what that looks like. Okay. I'm just cleaning up. So now we've got our bow in the center, right in the center. Okay. So now we're going to place the bones in, or what we would typically call the underwires. All right, we are definitely in the home stretch now. Okay, so I'm going to now feed the wires through the channels. Okay, so when you're doing this, the lower side, usually the colored side, should end up in the center of your cup. Okay, so I'm going to feed in starting with that. And then make sure you get it inside the channel and not between the channel and the cup. Okay, because that will immediately kill your bra. It would ruin it. Okay, so So now that one's in. It's looking more and more like a bra. Okay, so let's do this one. What did I do? Did I stick it in the right place? I just want to make sure. Let's go back a little bit. There we go. All right. Pushing it through a brand new channel can be a little bit tough on the hands. Okay. Okay, very good. Now we have fed it through and it's looking almost done. So we've got it inside here. Now what I'm going to do is the elastic at the top of the band and the underarm. Okay, so basically what's going to happen is this part right here. Right, so this elastic here is going to be applied in very much the same way as all the others. Okay, but I'm taking care to make sure that the plush side is up. Okay, so it's going to go on like this. I'm going to tug a little bit from here to here just to give it a little tension, and then it's going to be flat the rest of the way. Okay, this is the underarm and then the top. Okay, and guess what? I need to change my one more time. This is the last time, I promise. I can't really promise. Okay. And once again, guys, this is just because I have this issue with wanting things to be beautiful. And so therefore I want the colors to match. Okay. Okay, so that's done. I'm just going to put the blue in. So far, so good. Just checking in. How's everybody doing? All right, so we're going to use a zigzag once again. Okay, 3 long, 4. I'm sorry, 3 wide, 4 long. Okay, once again, I'm gonna start here at the very top. This time, I am gonna start including the elastic, the ruffle. Okay, because I want to catch that, and I'm placing the elastic straight edge along. I'm aligning it with the straight edge of the actual cup. Okay. So, there we go. And I'm going to make that stitch right underneath the scallop. Tug a little bit, give it a little tension. And this again is just to give it a more of a custom feel, right? In case someone is a little bit smaller in this area, you give it a little bit more custom feel. All right, so from here forward, we're going to just do a flat treatment, okay? So no tension at all. Okay. Good there. All right, and do the same for the other side. This time starting at the band. I'm feeling for the plush side. It should be facing up, right side up, plush side up. And flat. No tension. didn't trim this. I should have trimmed this off. I'm going to do that now. I don't want to catch that. Okay. All right. Okay. Move on. Okay, so now I'm going to apply some tension. Not much. Just enough to give it a little bit of a gather. And I'm going to include the ruffle. All right, so this is how we're looking. Just like that, okay? On both sides. Now I'm going to fold it in. All right, let's get rid of some of this stuff. So now I'm just going to trim off this little excess here in the corner. That's just the ruffle sticking out. Okay, very good. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is turn it inside and zigzag it from this side. Okay. Just making sure it's nice and flat. And I'll be catching the ruffle with this stitch. And I'm going to give it a little tension at the beginning here because I gave it tension at the top. And then just a flat, no tension here. Okay, one side done. All right. Flat. Flat. Okay. Make sure that gets caught. Okay, now I'm going to give it a little pull. And I'm going to catch the ruffle. Okay, so this is how that's looking. Beautiful. Let's show you that here. You see that? Beautiful. Nice and clean. So this is why I like the colors to match, because I like a nice clean finish. Okay, so this is where we are. All right, so I'm going to trim this, the extra. All right. Trimming the extra. All right, so now I'm going to finish off the band. Okay, I'm going to finish off the trimming out the band here. All right, let's go ahead and take care of that. And so what's going to go here is the elastic that you use for your strap. We also use to trim out the band. Okay, it's going to go like that, and then it's going to hold the ring. Okay, so what I like to do here is give myself a line to show me where to place it. So I'm just going to put a base stitch here. Okay, I'm going to run one along here to help me just to keep that straight when I'm applying it. So this is just a temporary stitch. See here, it's just a temporary stitch to help me position the trim. So far, this is what we've got. Okay, so far. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a zigzag stitch. This time I want my stitch to be wider because as I'm putting this along this edge, as I'm attaching it here, right? And this is the right side up, and this is the right side up. Okay, as I'm attaching this, I'm gonna align the edge with it like that. And then my zigzag, I want it to be wider so it catches most of the under. Okay, so the hem line of that. All right, so I'm gonna change this to about 4.5 wide by 4 long. Okay. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna take the edge of that like this. Just take the edge and align it just like that. Okay. Back stitch there. Okay, so that's how that's looking. All right. You can see those stitches there. And then this is how it looks on the back. So it's fully caught. It's a nice flat finish there too. Okay. Now let's do the other one. Okay, right side up in both cases. Okay, so the right side of the strap is up and the right side of the band is up. Very good. Okay, just cleaning up now. Okay, and I'm going to take out that extra stitch. It's no longer of use to me. Okay. And I'm doing it again here too. Okay. Clean that up. All right. So far, so good. All right. So now I'm going to apply my rings. Okay. So I'm simply going to, so you can see how nice that's coming out so far, right? Right. So we're almost all trimmed out here. All right. So now I'm going to take my, whoops. I dropped it. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to take my ring and I'm going to feed it through. So it's going to go under, right? I'm going to feed right side through and then I'm going to fold it under. And now I'm going to take and do a bar tack right here. Okay. And now I need black all the way. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. is 2 straight stitches, and then it goes back and does the railroad track across. Okay, so that's how we're looking. Okay, let me do the other one. Okay, so I'm taking the ring. And I'm feeding it through. I hate to have these strings hanging. So let's get rid of those. Okay, so this is the right side. I'm just going to feed the ring through like that. Okay, like that. All right. Okay, so it's going to do a straight stitch. And it's going to go backward for a straight stitch. And then it's going to run the railroad track. Okay, done. You can see it there because that's blue thread. All right, and so normally I would just trim these off. Okay. Let's pull out some of these threads here. Okay. I hope you're enjoying the video. Please give it a like. Please, your girl is working hard here, okay? She is working hard for the money, okay? All right, so now let's work on the straps, okay? So now we're going to work with the sliders and our straps. So this is the strap. And what I'm going to do is feed the strap right side up through the center portion of the slider. Okay, so that little crossbar that's in the center right there, that's what we're feeding this over. And then we're going to run a bar tack to close the loop. Okay, so this is what it looks like that. Okay, so go ahead and feed it on the other one. Okay. All right, so now bar tack it. This one, you can see here, this is how it is. It's just running across the center portion. Right, and when you tack in it, it's right sides are on the outside, so wrong sides together of your strap. Okay, let's see how that looks. Now you can see it a little bit better. There we go. Okay, just gonna clean it up. Clean it up. All right. So now that we have attached the strap to the rings or the sliders, sorry, to the straps, now we're going to slide them through the rings. Very easy to do. All right. So from the wrong side of the bra, right? So from the wrong, right? From the wrong side of the bra. Sorry. From the wrong side of the bra, we're going to feed the strap through, okay? So that your wrong side or the furry side or the plush side is facing up, going into the wrong side of the ring, or coming from the wrong side of the bra. Okay. So now my wrong sides are exposed. You see that? You can see up here, this is the wrong side. All right, now I'm going to run this through here, through the remaining openings here. So I'm going to feed it through this one, go over the center loop, oops, feed it through this one here. That's the first one right there, okay? And then over the center loop and back through here. Okay, so we're just running it over the center loop. So you can see that. Over the center loop, all right? And I'm just gonna pull it so it's nice and tight there. One more time. I'm feeding it from the wrong side into towards the front or the right side, okay? My wrong side is up, so I'm got the furry side exposed here. Okay. Now I'm going to feed it through the remaining loops. All right, so in through here, over the center. If I can get it in there. Pull it through my fingers. Okay, here we go. All right, so that's that. All pulled through. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is attach the hook and eye. Okay, so this is the hook and eye, right? Separated. So what I'm going to do, I would typically input right here my care label. There's no need to do that for this. This is just for demonstration. And so when I apply this, the hooks are facing outward. Let me trim this really quickly first, just so that it goes over smoothly. So the hooks are facing outward. So if you have this facing up like this, your hook would be on the outside. So that would be considered your right side. So it just slides in there like that. Okay. And I generally like to do just a little straight stitch to hold it in place. And then, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So I'm just going to do a little straight stitch just to hold it in place. Because sometimes it can get a little wonky on you in terms of losing its position. Okay, no need to backstitch this because we're gonna. So that's how that's looking so far. Okay, so it's attached. Okay, so this part is nice and smooth. It will be against your skin, and this is where what's going to catch the hook, the other part of the hook and eye. Okay, so this is the part that's left. It has the hooks on it. Now I'm going to slide that on so that it's facing the inside. So the hooks will face the inside of the bra. Okay, like that. Just like that. All right. And you could try this with a different foot, like a zipper foot or something like this. But I do it so often with just my regular foot. Right. So I'm just going to, and it may just take an adjustment from your machine to go over those humps like that. Okay, so now that we have those in place, the final stitch for these will be a zigzag stitch, and it'll be a very dense one because there's a lot of stress that gets applied here. So now I'm just going to run a zigzag stitch, and it's going to be 4 wide and 2 long, 2 millimeters long. So it's a very dense stitch. Okay. And I use the stitch that I just made as a guide. Okay, now one more thing I want to mention before we move on. Okay, you see how nice and beautiful that is? Okay, so that's what that looks like. All right, so now there's openings at the top and the bottom. We want to close those with zigzags too, here and here. All right, so before I do that part, I'm just going to go ahead and tack the hook part, okay? Using the same stitch that I just used to apply. And I'm using, my first little stitch as a guide to keep it straight. All right, so there it is, right there. All right, so now this also has openings at the tops and the bottoms. So we're going to zigzag to close those. So I'm actually going to take the width of my stitch down to 3, leaving it at 2, and now I'm just going to on and off the edge just to close those edges. Okay, so you get a better sense of what that looks like. So you can see the little stitches here and here. Okay, and you do that on both sides. So now I'm going to clean it up. Okay. Okay, guys. Let's see. Okay, so I'll clean that up. Now let's clean up this side. It can get so messy. It can get so messy. Oh, goodness. Okay. All right, so this is where we are. And guys, I think we are at our last step. Okay. Our last step is going to be to attach the straps to the front of the bra, to the cups. I think I deserve another sip, don't you? Okay, so now it's time to attach. Put all these things away. It's time to attach the straps to the cup. All right, so just follow it along. Make sure it's nice and smooth and you don't have any twists in it. And then we're going to attach it just like that. And what we want to make sure is that when we are attaching it, that when we're going to put bar tacks here, and you're going to do it inside the actual sheer portion of the cup, avoiding the ruffle. Okay, so I'm going to do another bar tack. Okay. Two straight lines, and now the railroad. One down, one to go. One down, one to go. Okay. Once again, I'm just following the strap on around so that there's no twists in it and attaching it to the cup. Okay. Let's a little bit. Thread in there. Okay. All done. Just trimming here. Then I would also put my branding plates in place as a last step. Guys, guess what? We did it. Let's look at it. Let's look at our beautiful work. This is the bra we just finished. And if you don't believe me, okay, you can see there's the blue. There's the little where I applied the bow. Okay, it's not like my norm, but here's that bra. But here's the one that I used to show you. That one doesn't have the blue dot. And Lulu still has hers on. Hi, Lucy. Lucy still has hers on. See that? So we did it. And she's nice and pretty on the inside. Nice and clean. Nothing sticking out to touch the customers, to rub and irritate. All of these are very clean finishes on the inside. And we are done. We are done. Thank you all so much. I so enjoyed having you here. It was a pleasure doing this with you. Again, guys, please subscribe, like the video. Your girl is working hard for the money. All right. And stay tuned for the next Sew Jeaux Live. But how will you know if you don't subscribe? So please subscribe and hit the notification bell and select all to get notified whenever I do anything so you don't miss anything. Okay, guys, it was a pleasure. And remember to create something